You bet your sweet bippy.
Warning. This video contains heavy spoilers for the Fullmetal Alchemist series, as well as covering very heavy and traumatizing topics. This video is not meant to be taken seriously, as it involves psychoanalyzing fictional characters with no authority behind my findings. Please enjoy the video. Looking at this image, what thoughts are going through your mind right now? What feelings are you experiencing? I'm fucking with you. Most everyone in the anime community knows who this is. It's Inugami Korone. For the three of you that haven't seen Fullmetal Alchemist, this creature is Shou Tucker. She is the daughter of state alchemist Shou Tucker. Within the world of Fullmetal Alchemist, state alchemists are officers of the Amestris military that were commissioned as both researchers and weapons, poised to make Amestris the most powerful military force in the world. Shou was given the title of the Sewing-Life Alchemist due to his extensive knowledge of medical biology and his ability to create chimera, which are amalgamated beings created from multiple creatures that come together to be more than the sum of their parts. In Shou's case, he created the first known chimera that can understand human speech. In the 2 years since he first earned his classification as a state alchemist, Shou's been at work attempting to recreate the same miracle that earned him his state alchemist status in the first place. When the protagonists of the Fullmetal Alchemist story, Edward and Alphonse Elric, get introduced to Shou, he's actually a few days out from his next alchemist review. For Shou here, he's actually on the edge of losing his state alchemist licensing with this next review. For Shou, this means everything, because not only does having a state alchemist license come with power within the military, it also includes incredible funding for his research. The entirety of the story arc involving Shou Tucker begins and is resolved within just one episode. And in the end, we come to find out that Shou had used his wife as the vessel for the first talking chimera he created 2 years prior. In order to keep both his prestige and rank, Shou decided he would use his daughter as the newest vessel to create the next talking chimera. In the world of Fullmetal Alchemist, alchemists use the art of transmutation to apply physical changes to material without disrupting their chemical makeup. The rule of thumb for transmutation is equivalent exchange.
It is impossible to create something out of nothing. If one wishes to obtain something, something of equal value must be given. This is the law of equivalent exchange.
Human transmutation in particular is considered incredibly taboo and does carry punishment, as it is illegal to perform under Amestris law. I'm not here to discuss the ethics or the legality of what Shou decided to do, because honestly, yeah, he's kind of a piece of shit. Thankfully, I'm not a licensed therapist nor professional. That does require you to have impartiality, which I refuse. What I really want to do today is actually take a look at Shou Tucker's motivations and possibly see what's going on with him, mentally speaking at least. What drove this man to the point where he was willing to sacrifice those closest to him? And with these motivations, we're going to attempt to use the most recent revision of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, also known as the DSM-5, to see which mental illness would best fit him based on his different characteristics and symptoms. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I want to confirm it is pronounced as Shou, you uncultured monkeys.
I saw you with the box. What was in the box?
As stated before, Shou is a state alchemist. The condition of him having both the title and rank requires a yearly review of either the results of his research or contributions to the Amestris military in general. If an alchemist is unable to pass this review 2 years in a row, they would be stripped of their title, rank, and any grants that are awarded to them. Shou relies on all of these to continue living his lavish lifestyle, which gives him the freedom to continue his research without wanting for funding or access to research material. And just like that, we already have some motivators. He wants to continue his advancement of alchemy in general, while being able to take care of his family at the same time. Obviously, there's a bit of a contradiction here. Shou clearly shows that he wants to continue to provide for his daughter, but he completely shits the bed when he mutates her. So maybe if we take a bit of a sneaky beaky peek at certain signs and characteristics here, we can try to see if these motivations actually meant anything. Or there might be some other extrinsic motivators we're not actually taking into account here. Off the bat, the first characteristic we see here is that Shou's kind of a master manipulator. He's able to put on a face when around others, and he does understand his actions are not normal, and they have to be hidden away from society at large. He carries himself as a soft-spoken family man who shows great concern over his daughter's well-being. He even offers help to the Elric brothers by allowing them access to his personal library, research materials, and this helps assist them getting answers in their own quest. Once this facade fades, we can see that Shou lacks pretty much any form of empathy. He shows no remorse in his actions once he's found out. Even in her mutated form, Nina still recognizes Shou as her father, and he seems not to care at all. All that mattered was that he was able to achieve the results he was looking for in his human transmutation experiments. He's obviously capable of being deceitful, and he's very adept at lying to others. He kept up the act of his wife running away years prior, only confessing that he used her in human transmutation once the Elric brothers caught on. Shou seems not to have any qualms about holding in the truth for years, and was even willing to lie to the highest authorities in regards to the Amestran military. Shou also seems to display illusions of grandeur. He believes that everything he's doing is purely for the advancement of science and alchemy, and that only special people willing to deal with taboo subjects like human transmutation can elevate humanity further. Shou also tries to extend the same philosophy onto the Elric brothers. He believes that they're just as morally bankrupt as he is, since, as children, they dared to try human transmutation to bring back their mother who passed away from illness. He even attempts to convince Edward that they're kindred spirits, willing to break the rules of society as long as they got the results they were wanting. So let's gather everything we have here. Shou displays a lack of empathy. He has no regards to authority. He's deceitful for his own gain. Displays illusions of grandeur. He's a willing manipulator. He believes he's special in his willingness to advance alchemy no matter the cost. He has an incredible amount of arrogance, refuses to conform to societal norms, lacks remorse in his actions, and has no regard for the safety and well-being of others as long as he can get what he wants. With these persistent symptoms thrown into the DSM, there are two diagnoses that come to mind. On one hand, we have antisocial personality disorder, and on the other, we have narcissistic personality disorder. Both involve a willingness to be deceitful or manipulative, both lack empathy for others, and both also carry no regard for the safety of others for personal gain. In this case, it would be very difficult to use antisocial personality disorder, as that does also require a pattern of similar behavior before the age of 15. Now, when the Elric brothers meet Shou, he's about middle-aged, and his destructive behaviors only started about 2 years prior to them arriving to Central City. We have no evidence to show that he's had these tendencies his whole life. There's no previous information, there's no background story. We can't assume that he's had this forever. We can only use what we've been given and work with that. So for this reason, we can't use antisocial personality disorder. For this upcoming part, I had to re-record it, and I apologize because I caught a cold. Yeah, great timing. That leaves us with narcissistic personality disorder. In order to qualify for this diagnosis, 5 of the 9 following criteria must be present. He definitely has a sense of self-importance, believes he's special, definitely exploitative, has no empathy, and does display incredible arrogance. Technically, Shou might qualify for 6 of the criteria regarding the fantasies of success. However, the parts about being preoccupied with the fantasies and wanting unlimited anything don't really stick as well. And with that, Shou does match 5 of the 9 characteristics required to be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. NPT doesn't have any other qualifiers like antisocial personality disorder, so it is safe to assume we can apply this mental illness to Shou Tucker. Now, keep in mind, this is a completely shallow diagnosis that does not involve the proper interaction with the subject that would have them open up and reveal more about them. There is a very good chance that Shou has been capable of these things his entire life. However, without the context or the ability to delve deeper into his past, we can only use what has been given to us. So I did mention earlier there were some contradictions in his motivations. We do see him showing that he wants to take care of Nina, but obviously That doesn't matter in the end. His only real goal was just to keep his status and wealth. Nothing else. He was willing to sacrifice his family. He didn't give a shit about them. That's it. Now, Fullmetal Alchemist actually has 2 anime adaptations. Brotherhood is the most faithful of the original manga, and that's the version we reference today. The original anime had a completely different story, and a different use for Shou, funny enough. In the original 2003 anime, Shou was actually being forced by the Amestrian military to create these chimeras as weapons. And he's actually even brought back in later episodes as a returning antagonist. In both the manga and the Brotherhood adaptation, Shou's true self is revealed and he meets his demise within the same episode and chapter. For those of you curious, this takes place in episode 4 of the Brotherhood anime and chapter 5 of the manga. I highly recommend either, as this is truly an amazing series. It focuses on some really heavy topics, such as family trauma, militaristic corruption, and nihilism. Try to avoid the original 2003 anime though. It's not that it's awful, but it does deviate heavily from the source material, and really doesn't hold a candle to the 2009 Brotherhood release. I'll leave you with some parting words. My next subject may or may not be anime focused, however I will continue to find more fictional characters with interesting motives behind their actions, not necessarily good or bad. If you have any recommendations for further characters, please drop it down below. Then absolutely raw dog that subscribe button, and then leave in the morning without waking them because this was just an awkward rebound one-night stand, and you really weren't looking to start a new relationship, but the opportunity kind of presented itself. How can you say no to someone who is willing to talk to you about anything until 3 a.m. and then touch your wiener afterwards? Where was I going? Oh yeah, dub over sub.